very good evening, everyone. It is with pleasure that I, Aarti Jhingan, your host and moderator for the evening, welcome all of you to this joyous occasion. It is indeed a joyous occasion, for we are very excited to launch the second edition of the Reliance Foundation Scholarships. We are delighted to have the best and the brightest students from around the country joining us virtually this evening. At Reliance, we believe growth is life. And through this scholarship, we hope to nurture the future of our great nation. This is certainly a unique opportunity for our graduates and postgraduates. For you are at the forefront of fulfilling India's dream of a digital tomorrow. With this scholarship, we at Reliance Foundation hope to foster the growth of our future leaders and support the youth of this nation who will lead the technology revolution in India. Reliance Foundation scholarships will identify and support 100 of India's brightest undergraduate and postgraduate students with a generous grant award and a strong development program that will nurture your skills to innovate for social good. Now, to set the ball rolling, let us take a look at what the scholarship is all about.
Over the course of the last few decades, human interaction with technology has witnessed remarkable change. The fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and artificial intelligence, computer sciences, mathematics and computing, and electrical and/or electronics engineering, which are powering new technologies, are at the core of the transformation. We are launching the Reliance Foundation Scholarships in artificial intelligence, computer sciences, mathematics and computing, and electrical and/or electronics engineering to nurture future young leaders who will be at the forefront of fulfilling India's dream of a digital tomorrow. Our aim is to support you, the brightest youth of this nation, and to create a community of scholars who are uniquely positioned to lead India's technologically driven growth. The application and selection process is spread across 5 stages, starting with an online eligibility questionnaire, followed by an online application form. At the first level selection, applications will be evaluated, after which shortlisted candidates will move to a second level selection process for interviews. And finally, scholars will be announced. The Reliance Foundation scholarships will nurture future leaders who understand the potential of these future technologies and aim to use it to innovate to create seamless solutions for the advancement of Indian society and beyond. We look forward to your application.
Now, isn't that really very exciting? So, our digital natives, our dear students, we really hope you're ready to make the most of this opportunity. Now, what can you expect today? Today, we have a great panel of speakers who are going to be telling you all about the Reliance Foundation Scholarship. If you want to know more about the application and the selection process, and we already have quite a few questions around that, don't you worry because we have our experts who will be giving out some of their best tips to make your process a breeze. Furthermore, we have been receiving a lot of questions on email as well, and we'll be aiming to tackle all those questions during this session so that you have all the information to bag the Reliance Foundation Scholarship. Now, please feel free to type in your questions, queries, and comments in the comment box, and we will certainly get them towards the end of this session. All of this is lined up for you over the next few minutes, so let's get straight into it. We'll start with an introduction of a really great gentleman. It is my honor to call upon Mr. Jagannatha Kumar, Chief Executive Officer of Reliance Foundation. Mr. Kumar, who we fondly call JK, is a fellow at Harvard University and an alumnus of the premier Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. He has over 3 decades of experience in banking, finance, venture capital, mergers and acquisitions, public policy, and in the development sector. Thank you so much for joining us, JK, sir. It is such a pleasure to have you with us, and we really look forward to knowing so much more about the scholarship from you.
Thanks, Arti.
So let us start, with the very obvious question. Could you tell us more about the Reliance Foundation Scholarship and what is the vision of this scholarship? Why are we at Reliance Foundation focusing on artificial intelligence, computer sciences, mathematics, computings, and engineering? So why are we really focusing here?
Well, thanks, Arti, firstly, for the question. In fact, it's my pleasure to share with these students our vision in terms of why we are doing what we are doing and why these focus areas. So to start with, I think all of us know that education empowers, and the primary focus of the foundation, its vision, is to really empower the various sections of the society for us to evolve and emerge as an advanced nation sooner than later. And in that direction, if you really look at the role of education and the youth, they are the youth of today, and particularly the group of people we are talking to today, are the ones who are going to really take us forward in the 21st century. If you really look at this, we are in 2022, assuming 50 years of active life for them, most part of the remaining part of the century is theirs. And if we are able to empower them in every way we can, that's really setting the path for taking us forward as a nation. And in 25 years from now, these are the people who will be at the peak of their careers, we hope, and can make all the difference to the generations to come thereafter. So that's the path forward we are really looking at in terms of where we see the role of education for the youth and empowering those youth in terms of realizing their dreams, and in turn through those dreams taking the nation forward. And in that direction, if we really look at the evolution of how we have evolved over the last 2 decades in India particularly, we have now kind of evolved and emerged as a leading force amongst the leading forces, let's say, in on the technology front. Today we are amongst the leaders in terms of the digital technologies, and we provide technology solutions to the globe in many ways. And there is nothing better than equipping and empowering these youth who are pursuing their careers in the related areas such as artificial intelligence, computer science, maths and computing, electronics and communications, electrical engineering, and so on. These are going to be the foundations really uh, to take us forward at a pace unseen before. As we have seen in the last 2 decades, how the technology has evolved, and what one could not visualize at the turn of the century has all been happening. And the same pace needs to be accelerated if everyone at the bottom of the pyramid is also to benefit from this evolution. And that's what we are really banking on in terms of empowering these youth and providing a platform for them to really equip themselves to go forward and contribute to the society in a big way.
Wow, that's certainly very exciting. And I think, it's so encouraging to see that so many of our students who've actually logged in today, they already have so many questions and are excited about this scholarship. So, hoping to make the most of this vision that we have set out on. So, how do you think, how do you hope these scholars will now benefit from this scholarship?
See, the scholarship should not be seen just as a scholarship which is a monetary support for the students. It is actually a recognition of what they're capable of in terms of achieving their goals and their dreams, and providing a means to get there. That's one part of it. But the more important part is really in terms of the overall networking opportunity that they get through these scholarships. I mean, if you're really looking at, if these are the students who are talking about AI, computer science, and communications, and so on, right? They understand the network effects better than most others, I'm assuming. And the benefit of the network of scholars and the rest of the ecosystem that we would provide access to through this platform of scholarships is something which is going to be enormous in terms of how they can avail and make use of going forward, and the opportunities that it opens up for them. So the scholarship has to be seen from that perspective too, not just from a pure monetary point of view. And we have seen these things working around the globe, how the alumni networks and scholar networks and all those things actually contribute a lot more to the growth of the people even after their education. And that's what I would encourage all the students to really look forward to in terms of what they can get out of these scholarships, and not just purely from a monetary contribution.
Thanks so much for that, sir. And I hope all the students are actually listening. So while of course there is a grant award, but I think it's so wonderful that there's an entire ecosystem that would be provided to them as well as a part of this entire scholarship. So another question which is quite obvious, and I'm sure the students would love to know from you. If there are any tips or advice that you have for the students, when they're considering applying.
Well, I think the best thing to do is to be yourself. There cannot be anything better than that. And state your dreams, state your goals, state your aspirations, and how this helps you. Think about it actually. And it's not just for the sake of writing a statement of purpose or an essay, but it is an opportunity for all of you to reflect uh, carefully in terms of what you want to do in your lives and how you can make a difference to the nation. Just imagine if each of you could impact, say, 50 people in your lifetime, let's say in a career span of 50 years, active life, as I said, going forward. And then imagine if 100 of you are there, and all 100 of you, each of you impacting 50 people, that makes it 5,000 people. And imagine those 5,000 people in turn impacting 50 each. What does it do? You're really creating a multiplier effect, right? So that's the way to think about, and use your imagination and creativity, and put that to best use in terms of how you're going to progress. And these are the things which you could think of in terms of articulating your vision, your imagination, your creativity, and pull out of those things as, and how they are going to contribute to the society itself, and how you would be the ones who would transform. You see, the key things to look at are empowerment and transformation. We are trying to empower you so that you are able to transform the society, you are able to transform the nation. And as I said earlier, you are the future of the nation, actually. So a lot is hinging on you people, and just imagine yourselves in that position and express yourselves. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your perspectives. And this is truly very empowering. Like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think, students, it's now on you to make the most of this opportunity that lies ahead of you. Sir, before, of course, we bid adieu to you, I'm sure this session is making you reminisce your school days or your college days. So, what do you miss the most from your time as a student, if you could share with
Well, the first and foremost thing I would say is that I wish I were born in 21st century
us?
so that I could be amongst them.
Absolutely.
And the reason I say that is very simple, that, the pace at which we have seen these things developing over the last few decades is immense, in fact, beyond anybody's imagination. Those who were born, uh, in mid 20th century would never have even thought anywhere close to this happening. So going back to my school days, I did my undergraduation in electronics and communications. I'm one amongst them. In fact, if we step back several years, and what I was hoping those days was something like what they have today, and this is the opportunity that shouldn't let be allowed to go waste in terms of grabbing and taking it forward. And if we could achieve, I mean, it's like me, there were many others. If we could achieve so much with such limited access to resources and technology and so on, now I feel like I can run many more times faster than what we could run, say, I'm not saying physical running, but in terms of doing these things several years ago. So that's what I would like to be in their shoes and be like them today. That's what I would like to believe.
Very true. I mean, I think they're all certainly in an extremely enviable space, and we are sure that all of them are going to make the most of this opportunity as well. So, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would that be?
Well, what that would be is like keep the mind open always. The world is complex. It is not just about what we study or learn as part of our academics. There's a lot more that's going around the world. Be perceptive, be open, and receive all inputs, and be multidisciplinary and multidimensional, not unidimensional. I'll just give an example. For example, if you were to really look at AI, computer science, and all these things, or communications, any of these things, what is more important is how we apply them to real life. Uh, we can learn a lot through the academic process, but how we apply them to real life, how we can make a difference, and how do we add value to the society is what is very critical. Creating that societal value through what we learn. That's one part. The second part is be a lifelong learner. So don't stop it at this stage after your graduation. Just keep learning all your life. Things are evolving very fast, and you would remain relevant and continue to add value only when you are a lifelong learner. This is what I would advise all of them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those pearls of wisdom, sir. And whether you were advising your younger self or the students here, it's absolutely applicable. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. It's been a pleasure to have you, and wish you also the very best for the second edition for the Reliance Foundation scholarships. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so that was JK sir giving you all the advice and a lot of tips, and of course, helping you understand Reliance Foundation scholarships a little more. Now, please continue to share your questions in the comment box and we'll take them. But I can already see a lot of interesting questions. So, whether it is Shreyansh who's asking about the selection process, we have Bhavya Jain who wants to know about the entire process as well. So many of you are wanting to know about the application and the selection process, and that's exactly what we are going to do. Now, with the objectives having known, we are now going to help you understand this entire application process and selection process of what it really takes to be a Reliance Foundation scholar. So, to share this process and answer all of these questions that we have a wonderful panel with two lovely Reliance ladies. Our first panel member this evening is Dr. Vanita Sharma. She's the advisor for strategic initiatives at Reliance Foundation. With a PhD in history from Oxford University, Vanita is passionate and creative professional with over 15 years of international experience in communications and corporate social responsibility across geographies such as UK, South Asia, and Africa. And she has been working across corporates, academics, and NGO sectors. Delighted to have you with us, Vanita. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Aarti, and delighted to be with you today and looking forward to taking part in the discussion.
Thanks, Vinita. And amping up the woman power further over here on our screens today is Neha Srinivasan, an all round finance leader with over 18 years of experience. Prior to Reliance, she's worked with organizations like GE and Whirlpool. A CA rank holder, she has been managing FP&A controllership for various industrial businesses. The last 8 years, she's been following her passion and using her financial expertise in the development sector. Her strengths are project management, people management, and of course, numbers. So, on that note, high five to you, Neha, and a very warm welcome.
Thanks, Aarti. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Great. So, thank you so much for joining in, ladies. I really hope you're all doing well and safe. With, of course, COVID hitting us with the third wave again. I really hope you're doing well. You have been associated with Reliance Foundation, and now the scholarship. And there is just so much curiosity around the scholarship, and you can actually see the chat window already buzzing with so many questions. So, it's great that we have the two of you over here to help our students through this process. So, Vinita, let's start with you. One of the first things that I'm sure the students are wondering is what are we looking for? So, if you had to put a sketch together of an ideal Reliance Foundation scholar, what would that look like?
It's a great question, Arthi. I think there's not one typical, person that we're looking for. What we're really looking for are, we're looking for the best and brightest students that are working in the fields of AI, computer sciences, maths, computing, electrical and electronics engineering. That's the broader, bigger picture. But, there are many thousands of students across India that are studying those subjects. So what we're really looking for are, creative thinkers, students that are, have a great vision in terms of what they would like to contribute in the future, using the skills that they're going to be learning over the next few years through their degree programs. And as JK was saying, students who are going to be really at the forefront of helping, create a better India for the future. And who will be poised, to be at the forefront of India's technology-driven growth and using those skills for the benefit of society. So that's really what we're looking for. Looking for those individual sparks that are there.
Great, thanks, Vinita. And I think I'm going to go back to what even JK said that, it's so important for our students to just be themselves. And that's really going to help them through the process as well. Thanks, Vinita. I'm going to ask you another question further to this. And, I'm sure there are some scholarship values that we look at as well. So, what are those and why are they important?
Yeah, so we have a range of Reliance Foundation Scholarship values, and the students will be able to read more about them on our website and in some of the videos that we have on our website. And these are values that are very much in synergy with our broader Reliance and Reliance Foundation values. And what we're looking for are things like, do the students have a growth mindset? Are they looking to always, push themselves further to learn new skills, to do new things? We're looking for excellence. So, they have to be committed to, reaching, the top of their field in terms of their studies and everything that they do. One of the other values that we think is really important is community commitment. All of the students that I know will be applying will be academically, doing really well, and will, I'm sure be going on to have very successful careers. What we're also really looking for is that, they are keen to also give back to society. In some way, whether that's through the the jobs that they aspire to do in the future, or in other ways. Those are some of our values. We have about sort of 6 or 7 core values, but those are some of the qualities that we're looking for.
Great. Thanks so much, Vinita. And students, please do go and see those values on the website. And, that will really help you align your application form as well. Neha, I'm going to move to you. You are a numbers person. So could you explain to our students what are some of the benefits of this scholarship?
Thanks, Aarti. I think as part of the any scholarship program, there is a financial grant attached to the scholarship. For the undergraduate program, it is rupees 1 lakh every year for 4 years, so a total of 4 lakhs. And for a postgrad program, it's around 3 lakhs per year for 2 years, and that would total to around 6 lakhs. But what I would like to stress upon is that it goes beyond financial. The best part and the unique part of the scholarship is that it will also give you various opportunities for for engagement and development. This may include you attending some webinars or seminars by global experts, mentorship, internship opportunities, volunteering opportunities. Basically, you would get an opportunity to be part of a vibrant community of scholars who have the potential to be, the builders of future India. So what we are looking for is not just the current talent, but also the people with potential to be future leaders.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for that. And now we all know why students you should be applying. But now let us break down the application process. And Neha and Vanita, I'm going to request your help over here. In fact, Bhavya Jain has really asked, what is the whole process of this scholarship program? So let's try and help Bhavya with this further. Let's try and tackle the entire application process into the 3 parts that it has. So let's take the first part and let's take a look at the application form part of the process.
Hi everyone, I'm here to give you some tips and tricks to get your application ready before the deadline. First, I want to talk about the application process. You will need to fill the eligibility questionnaire on our website www.scholarships.reliancefoundation.org. If you are eligible, you will receive an email invitation with OTP details to apply through the application portal. You can then go ahead and fill out the application form, which is made up of the following components: personal and contact information, 2 reference letters, academic and professional information, 2 essays, achievements and awards, and supporting documents. I wanted to give you some tips on preparing and submitting your supporting documents. Review the FAQs and guidance to applicants on our website and make a checklist of all required documents. Start collecting and uploading the documents right away. Don't wait for the last day. Review each document after you upload to ensure it has been uploaded successfully. And finally, here are our top 3 tips on submitting your application on time. Set aside some time each day to work on your application. Set a deadline for yourself even before the final deadline. Make a checklist of all application components and plan accordingly. And remember, you can always text hi on WhatsApp at 7977 100 with any questions, or email us at rf.scholarships@reliancefoundation.org. Good luck with your applications.
Great. So I really hope that that clip helped all our students who blogged in a little more in terms of the application form. But Neha, let's pose a question to you. How can the students know if they are eligible to apply to the scholarship?
So we saw it in the video also. The first thing that you have to see, go and check is whether you are eligible or not. For that, you need to visit the website and take the eligibility questionnaire. It has simple 3 or 4 questions by which you will come to know whether you are eligible or not. You need to be a resident Indian citizen to be able to apply for the scholarships. That's the first criteria. The second criteria is that you should be enrolled in the first year degree program of an eligible degree program of the eligible subjects. So there is a list of eligible degree programs on the website. Go and check whether your program in which you are enrolled is listed there or not. And then there is an academic criteria that you have to fulfill. For the academic criteria for undergraduates, you need to have a rank between 1 to 35,000 in the JEE main paper. And for the postgraduates, either you should have scored a score of between 550 to 1,000 in the GATE entrance examination. If you've not taken the GATE examination, then you should have a CGPA score of 7.5 or above. So, resident Indian citizen, whether you are in the eligible degree program and you fulfill the academic criteria, those are the 3 things that you need to check. And if you are eligible, then you will get an invitation from our portal and you can apply there.
Wonderful. But I'm sure the students are wondering that, do I have to study, say, specific subjects like artificial intelligence? Or, if, for instance, if my course covers AI and CS, but it is not mentioned in the eligible list, then what happens?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So I think the first thing you have to go and see is the list of the eligible programs on the website. We have tried to make a very comprehensive list, but obviously we can miss something. If you don't find your program, but you think it should be eligible because the program is either in AI, computer sciences, electronics, or electrical engineering, the qualifying subjects, then do write to us on the email that was displayed in the video. Our team will review the program and then they will come back to you saying whether you are eligible or not. So the list can be modified if you have missed the program.
Wonderful. I think that's great, and I'm sure the students would be very happy to know that. Vanita, a question to you. Today, getting transcripts can actually be quite painful. In fact, given the COVID restrictions now, I think that can be even worse. So, getting transcripts and some other official documents that might be needed. What is your advice to those students who might be facing some of these challenges?
Yeah, so I think, we completely understand that right now things may be more difficult because of, particularly the current wave. Our advice would be please try and get as many of the documents as possible and make sure that you do get them by the deadline. If you are facing any problems with, getting any of the documents, then, there may be alternative documents that you can provide. Have a look very closely at the FAQs and at the guidance for applicants, which will give you more information on the type of documents that we're looking for. And then if it's still not possible, we may be able to consider looking at some of the documents later in the process. But if you are selected to be a Reliance Foundation Scholar at the end of the process, your selection is contingent on the documents having been fully provided. So we would just encourage, do your best to get as many of the documents as possible. If you don't have those documents, look at what alternatives you can provide. And if you're still struggling, you can email us and we can give you further advice.
Wonderful. Thanks, Vanita. And I think Nirmal from IISc had a similar question. So I really hope that answers your query as well. Wonderful. Let's move to the next part, and that's the second part of the application process, that is essays. And this is my favorite part because I always loved writing essays. So let's take a look at what all you need to do for this part of your application process.
Hi everyone, I'd like to give you some insights and tips for writing your application essays. The application requires you to write 2 essays and there is a limit of 4,000 characters for each. 4,000 characters may seem like a lot, but it is actually around only 700 words each. Essay number 1 is the personal statement. This essay really gives you an opportunity to paint a picture about yourself in your own way. Who are you? What matters to you? And what are your goals? It should highlight your personal history and background. Tell us about your educational and professional background and your future aspirations, as well as any challenges that you have faced and the ways in which these experiences have affected you and your personal growth. How does your story reflect your commitment to the Reliance Foundation Scholarship, values of excellence, your leadership potential, integrity, courage, community commitment, and growth mindset? You can also include your special abilities and interests, career plans, and life goals. Essay number 2 is the statement of purpose. How will the scholarship enable you to achieve your goals? This statement should explain how the course that you are studying will nurture you and enable you to achieve your full potential and aspirations for your future career. Some of these questions may be helpful. What motivates you to pursue the course that you are studying? How will this course enable and nurture your growth? And remember, try to be clear and concise. The evaluators reading your proposal want you to get to the point about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of your program choice. What are our top 3 tips for writing your essay? Number 1, talk about yourself honestly and truthfully. Number 2, make it personal. You are your best content and tell us about what motivates and drives you. Number 3, connect with teachers or mentors for feedback. Proofread your essays to ensure there are no spelling or grammatical errors.
All right, so I think that would have given them a really good overview. But Vanita, I'm sure you've evaluated many statements and applications in the past. So what are some characteristics of a good essay or a personal statement in your view?
Thanks, Aarti. So I think from the personal statement, what we're really looking for is to get a sense of you as a person. So what we want to know is, who are you? What drives you? What experiences have shaped you growing up? What led you to study what you're studying, and what are your hopes for the future? So it's really for us to get a sense of your personality and what you're all about.
Great. And Neha, sometimes it's very difficult to articulate a statement of purpose. I mean, I'm sure we might still struggle sometimes to write one with changing ambitions and aspirations. So, any advice that you have for our students who might be worried on this front?
I think JK and Aarti, you have repeated what I wanted to say as an answer to this question. Be yourself. It is very much possible that you won't know what you want to do exactly in your life at this point in time, but you can always, just express yourself, express very clearly what you want to do, what are your dreams, and how would you use the scholarship amount, what are your plans for future. And if you are true to yourself, it will reflect beautifully in the statement of purpose. You don't have to like stress over it, according to me.
And I think I would just add here as well that in the statement of purpose, the other thing that we're looking for is a sense of really what you hope to do in the future. So, your personal statement is about, who you are now, what's led you to do what you're doing at the moment. The statement of purpose, we want to get a bit of a sense of what you hope to do in the future and what's your longer term, vision. And how you would use the skills and experience that you're building up to do whatever it is that you have planned for the future. But I think as Neha was saying, don't worry too much as well. We know that you're just at the beginning of your careers. You may not know exactly what it is you want to do. You may not, you may not know that even at the end of your degrees. And so, we completely understand that. And also, given the fields that you're working in, and will continue to sort of pursue in the future. These are fields where, as both JK and Neha were saying as well, where we don't know exactly what the future is going to look like, and that's what's so exciting. And I'm sure that many of you, the careers that you will go on to do, and the things that you will go on to help develop and create, many of us won't even be able to imagine that at this stage. So we're not expecting you to have all of the answers, but just give us a sense of what your hopes and dreams are.
Great. I think those are some wonderful tips that have come your way on how you can handle the essays part of your application process. With that, let's finally move to part three of the application process, and that is the reference letters. Now, we all need someone who will vouch for us and have our back, so it is time to find your referee. Let's take a look on how you can do that.
Hi everyone. I'd like to tell you a bit more about the two reference letters that you will need to submit as part of your application. One is an academic reference, which should be from an academic who can comment in detail on your scholastic ability. So someone who has formally taught and graded you. This could be one of the professors who is currently teaching you in your course. Alternatively, if you're an undergraduate, you could also ask your high school teacher to write you an academic reference. Or if you're a postgraduate student, you could also request a reference from one of your undergraduate professors. The second reference is the character reference. This one should testify to your character and your involvement in extracurricular or leadership activities. These referees should be supervisors who are able to speak in detail about your character and comment on whether your personal traits are aligned with the scholarship's criteria. So, for example, this could be a mentor or a tutor with whom you've worked closely and knows about your extracurricular activities. Or it could also be another professional who knows you well. So, how does the reference process work? You'll need to nominate 2 referees in the application form by providing their name, designation, and email ID. After this, the referees will receive a system-generated email from Reliance Foundation asking them to submit their references online through the portal.
They will have until 21st February 2022 to submit their references. That is 1 week after the application deadline.
So what are our top 3 tips on reference letters? Well, number 1, nominate referees early. Give them at least 3 weeks to write and submit their references. Number 2, speak to your referees. Let them know you're nominating them and make sure they receive the system-generated email to log into the portal. Number 3, touch base with your referees to remind them a week before the deadline. They will get reminders from the system, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Those were some very useful tips. But Vanita, I'm sure you have written references for students in the past. So can you help our students narrowing down on who they should approach and nominate as their referee?
So ideally, what we would like for the references is to have references from the students, academic tutors. But what we do understand and appreciate is that, again, we're still in the pandemic, and we know that, this has been a really difficult time, both for students and also for the professors as well. And, particularly since all of our applicants are first years, and they're just at the early stages of their degrees, and they haven't had the opportunity, as they would normally have done, to meet their professors personally one-to-one. We do understand that in several cases, it may be the case that your professor might not be able to write your reference. So if that's the case, then please again look at our guidance to applicants and our FAQs on our website. And we have some information on there about other people that you can think of, approaching for a reference and who would qualify for that. So, for example, if you're an undergraduate, whilst we would prefer to have a reference from your current tutor, if that's not possible, then you could look at, one of your teachers from your school. So there's a range of different options that you can look at, and hopefully that will enable you to put through the references.
Great, thanks for those suggestions, Vanita. Neha, once they nominate a referee, how can the students help their referee with the reference letter? Any tips that you have for them?
I would say communicate, talk, and talk. You should communicate with your referee before nominating them, so that they know that you have given their names as referees, and they will be receiving an email from Reliance Foundation, and they should look out for it. Once you have told that, talk to them. Maybe some of the referees would need some bullet points, some pointers on what you have done, in which project you were impressive. Just refresh their memory of what makes you different from your peers, and how they should write about you. And lastly, but most important part, is make sure that they have given the references by the deadline. So please follow up with them, and make sure that they have submitted the references online, as per the due date for the reference letters.
Yeah, I think that's the most critical piece, because there's no extension for the reference letters, so it is really, really important that your referees do make that deadline. So do gently remind them and check with them. Also, there's some more information on our website as well, on guidance for the referees, which would be helpful for them.
Great, thank you so much, Vanita and Neha. Now, that was the three-step application process, that is, the application form, essays, and reference letters. Now that you know how to apply, I'm sure the students are eager to know on how they can get selected and actually become Reliance Foundation scholars. So, Vanita, what happens when their applications are submitted?
So it's a two-step evaluation process that we go through. So the first stage is that the students send in their applications. Once the application process closes, we then go through a first level evaluation where we have a panel of expert evaluators that will review all of the applications that have been submitted. And then that goes through a first level review. And then there will be a number of applicants that are shortlisted to go through to the second stage. And at the second stage, those applicants would then be invited to an interview. And the interviews will be virtual this year, so it will be by Teams or equivalent platform. And they will have a short interview. It's usually about sort of 15 minutes. There'll be two evaluators. One will be a general expert, and the other will be an expert in the field. And they will ask you questions about your application, and again, very sort of similar questions to what we've gone through in this discussion. So, what has shaped you? Why are you studying what you're studying? What are you hoping to do in the future? And also some technical questions that they will ask you as well. And then following that, we will then have a final level evaluation where we will then shortlist the final 100 scholars.
All right, so it sounds like an extremely exciting process, and I hope students you are geared up for it. Neha, I'm sure
it's quite sorry. So just to add, Aarti, it's quite a robust application process and evaluation process. And the feedback that we got from the students last year that went through the process, both those that eventually became our scholars and even those that didn't, was that they found this process to be a really valuable process for them to sort of go through, both from writing the applications to having the interviews. It gives you that opportunity to really think through some of these big picture questions as to why you're doing what you're doing and what you hope to do in the future. And a lot of the students, I think, got a lot of benefit out of the interviews and that opportunity to engage with and some experts in the field, and to get to have their questions. And so we really hope that even those students that don't ultimately end up getting selected will continue to find this a really helpful process to go through.
Absolutely. I think it sounds then like an extremely comprehensive process, and I'm sure everyone will gain through this process. So please do take that first step of applying. Neha, you must have given interviews, and I'm sure you excelled at them. Please share some tips with our students on how they can actually ace the interview round.
Actually, Aarti, I would not like to steal the thunder. We are preparing for a webinar in future where we will be giving, which would be centered around how to face the interview. We will be giving tips to the applicants on how to face an interview, what are the communication techniques, tips around it. So my suggestion is just look out for that webinar and to attend it. And I hope that you'll find it useful.
Wonderful. So I think there are still lots of exciting workshops and masterclasses that are in store for our students to actually help them through this entire process. And that's, I think, a part of what Vanita was saying, right? I think there's so much exposure during the entire process that the students get to make it so valuable. Great. Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing so many tips, suggestions, and advice with our students. I really hope many of you students are parallelly on our website and are already enrolling into the scholarship. So please do so. I'll once again request all of you to continue to use the comment box so that we can take quite a few questions. But that actually brings us to the Q&A segment. We've received quite a few. So Neha, let me just start picking up some of these questions and maybe direct this first one to you, because it is a financial question. How will the scholarship funds be dispersed? Is there any restriction on how I can use the scholarship funds?
Yeah, so there is details of how you can utilize the scholarship funds would be shared once you are selected as a scholar. But broadly, the scholarship funds can be are categorized into two different categories. 80% of your funds can be utilized for any direct academic expenses, including your tuition fees and other examination fees, etc., etc. 20% of the funds they are earmarked for any professional development activities, which may include attending a seminar, attending any additional course, doing an internship, private internship. So those kind of expenses can also get covered if they are listed under our terms and conditions. You can find more details around it in the guidance to applicants. So I will encourage you to go and read through it. But that is the broad categorization of how the funds would be utilized. Just to make a note of one thing, there is a terms and conditions that every scholar would sign upon accepting the scholarship, which lays down certain academic criteria that they have to fulfill during the scholarship program, and also other proofs that they need to provide in order to avail the scholarship funds. These scholarship funds disbursements would be subject to the fulfillment of those academic criteria and the supportings, and then only you would be getting the amount. But we would be guiding them through once they are selected, and we will take them through the entire process. So not so complicated, I guess.
Wonderful. Thanks, Neha. And I think if you still have some queries around it, please feel free to use the comment box. We have another very interesting question, and Neha, I'll continue to direct this to you. And she says that I receive a stipend of approximately 12,000 per month through an internship that the person is doing. Am I allowed to accept it in conjunction with the Reliance Foundation Scholarship?
Is this a postgraduate student? Do we know? Uh,
No, that's not come out in
Okay,
the
so I'll
questions.
give a
You can
general
address it.
answer. For undergraduate programs, we allow other scholarships. So even if you are receiving any other scholarships, you are still eligible to apply for the scholarship, and then go through the selection process. For postgraduate, under the Reliance Foundation Scholarship Program, we allow a stipend of up to rupees 15,000 per month. You need to provide the details of that stipend in the application. In fact, you need to provide the details of all the scholarship program, all the other scholarship benefits that you are getting, either in for undergraduates or postgraduates in your application form. We would validate that and accordingly review that. So that's the main criteria. Just to answer again, for undergraduate, other scholarships are allowed. For postgraduates, a stipend of up to rupees 15,000 per month.
Okay, great. I think that's quite clear. Thanks so much for that, Neha. We've got a few questions around eligibility, so let's try and take those. And between Vanita, Neha, whoever wants to take a shot at it. We've got a question from Vasif Javed Hussain, who's asking that I'm currently enrolled in an integrated B.Tech-M.Tech program, and he's in his fourth year. So would he be eligible for the scholarship?
I'll try to answer it, but correctly, Vanita, add to it. Integrated program, you can apply under the undergraduate category if you are enrolled in the first year of the program. That's about it. But I would still encourage you to write an email to us separately, whether you will qualify under the MTech program. But as of now, it is in the first year you can allow for the undergraduate program.
All right. I think there is a similar question that I did see. Um, can you kindly elaborate on the eligibility criteria for B.Tech-M.Tech 5-year integrated program? I think that's covered quite well. I'm going to take another question, which is I'm an undergraduate student, first year in B.Tech Electrical Engineering. I'm thinking of applying for a stream change to ECE. If I get the scholarship and then I change my stream to ECE, will I be able to keep my scholarship?
Uh, so as I said, the terms and conditions, it is just laid in that also. You will have to continue in the eligible streams to be able to avail the scholarships throughout your 4 years. In case you change your stream to a non-eligible subject, then the scholarship would stand withdrawn. You won't be eligible for the funds in future.
All right, I think that's quite clear, and I hope you've got your query answered. There's another question from Arpan. Are civil engineering students eligible for this scholarship?
As we said that the subjects that qualify this year are clearly artificial intelligence, computer sciences, electronic engineering and electronics. So unfortunately this year civil engineering doesn't qualify, but we are planning to expand these subjects in future years. So maybe in future, but currently this year, unfortunately it will not apply. It will not qualify.
All right, thanks for that, Neha. We've got another question from Piyush Bhatia, who's asking if there is any exam for this scholarship.
There's no exam, just the interview.
Yeah, so I think, Piyush, the entire selection process or the application process has just been laid out in front of you. So those are the various steps that you need to follow. So there is really no exam that you need to give in addition to it. I hope that helps. We have another question, which is quite interesting. It's from Sanjay. He's asking if his reference letter could be in a native language, let's say, for instance, Kannada.
I think the application form is in English. Currently, we are accepting the entire application process only in English. I don't think it would be the native language would be accepted.
Sure. So I think this is also with reference to the reference letter that I guess that the referee would write.
So the referees also have to put in the references online, and again, the online system is in English. So Unfortunately, right now they will have to give the references in English.
Thanks, Sanjay. I hope that helps. Um, I'm just trying to see if there's a question that we haven't covered so far. All right, there's another question from Raja Kumar, which is if the tuition is already waived, then can I still apply for the scholarship?
Yeah, so as I said that the scholarship, the benefit of the scholarship is it is not just for your tuition fees. There are various expenses that are the nature of expenses that are listed on the website that you can go and check, that are eligible under this scholarship. The only thing is that you will get a scholarship amount up to the actual expenses then. So just I would encourage you to go and check the guidance to applicants. You are still eligible to apply and you can still avail the scholarship funds if you are spending on other academic expenses other than the tuition fees.
All right, thanks, Neha. And I think in the interest of time, I'm just going to take one last question. And that is a question, the name's not written, but I think he or she is wanting to know for how many years will we be with you? In the sense, how long would perhaps the program run? So if you could answer that.
So I think the scholarship program runs for the duration of their academic degrees. So if it's a 3-year program, a 4-year program, a 5-year program, and as we said at the beginning, the scholarship program for us is one part is the financial award, which we will give, but also the development program, development and engagement opportunities that the scholars will also benefit from during that time. Once they graduate, the scholarship itself ends, but we will also have a strong alumni network, and we will hope to keep in touch with them in the years ahead.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Vanita. And I think in the interest of time, that was I'll take that as the last question. But of course, for all our students, if you still have more queries, please continue to write to us. You can go to the website. A lot of your queries will get answered there. And of course, feel free to write to us on our email as well. Before we close,
Aarti, I think there was also one question that had come up about whether the students can watch a replay of this video.
Yes.
And we will be putting this video on the scholarships website, which you will all have from the information that we've shared with you. So that should go up in the next few days. So you'll have an opportunity to rewatch this if you haven't been able to take notes on everything, or if you want to look back. But the videos that we've featured in this event about the hints and tips for the application process, those are already on the website. So if you haven't seen those already, please go ahead and look again there towards the end of the page. And this full video of the session will be on in a few days as well.
Great. Thanks so much, Vanita. And Dinesh, I hope that answers your query as well. So you will have this session that will be available on the website, and you can have a look at everything that we've discussed so far. Before we end the session today, any final piece of advice to our students, Vanita and Neha, from the